The session theme, what we have is accelerating entrepreneurship in Asia. And the theme itself is very, very exciting. I only noticed one thing. This is a panel which is all men. So I think lacks little bit of inclusion. I wish there was a woman entrepreneur also, but still, let's move on. We have the panelists from different countries. In their own way, they have all excelled in their own fields. And I'm sure they will have a lot of good insights to share. And also maybe a bit about their own experience and how do they look at the government or the society supporting the entrepreneurship ecosystem. If we take a macro look, I think creating jobs and supporting economic development is the priority for all the governments. And historically, accelerating the enterprise development has been the model to support jobs and also to support growth. And that is how this session makes a lot of sense for the governments to look at the models which have worked in different parts of the world. If you look at the composition, I think the entire corporate sector, 98% is the SMEs. And SMEs create jobs, they create wealth, they bring equality, and they also support the services industry. If you look at the factors in terms of having the ecosystem which is right to support the enterprise, the entrepreneurs, I would like to flag off some of the issues which probably we can discuss. The first issue is whether we should look at the global models which have worked elsewhere. Like many countries have tried to replicate the Silicon Valley. Now, whether that works or you should look at the local conditions, the local markets, and try to have your own models which will suit your needs and the local ecosystem. The second theme could be, while you look at the new industries, you attract FDIs, how do you balance supporting the existing industries? Because they are already there, they are there on the ground. They are creating jobs, they understand the markets. They may be able to scale up quite easily. The third theme is, what should be the role of the private sector? Because government alone cannot do it. And government actually should not get into the management of doing all these things. So the private sector has a role to play. To what extent and specifically what kind of role? The fourth theme could be the entire regulatory framework. World Bank ranks various countries on ease of doing business. So governments have a role to play there to make it easier for the companies to set up, to operate, to comply with the norms. The fifth theme could be the capital, availability of capital at a reasonable cost, a competitive cost. Again, whether it should mean plenty of easy money, does that help? Subsidies, doles. Some people feel these things don't help in long term. But again, we can have some views. Also, the social acceptance and the culture, how the society looks at the corporates, whether they look at them as the people, a community who creates wealth, or they look at them as a community which is exploiting the resources, exploiting the environment, climate, whether the society celebrates entrepreneurship and the successes. And the last theme could be innovation and R&D. The entire framework and also the linkages between the institutions and the industry. So I think these are my thoughts, and now we can move on to the panel here. This is the broader framework, but feel free to bring in newer points, newer themes, or the sub-themes. So I think we could request David to share his thoughts.
Thanks. It's my pleasure to be here in this panel. And my name is David. I'm from Taiwan. I'm the founder of Lambo. It's a lifestyle company focusing on kitchen-related products and experiences. I have also found a tech startup back in 2013. We secured 2 early-stage funding, made the products, launched it, but unfortunately we failed and closed last year. But back to our topic today. When talking about entrepreneurs, so I would like to talk about what's the archetype of entrepreneurs. In my mind, when talking about entrepreneurs, there are 3 major names that just pop up, like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg. So what are they in common? They're both college dropouts, and they're young when they're starting out business, and they all claim that they build a business in their garage, and then they successfully turn their ventures into multi-billion companies. So this kind of Cinderella story, and so dramatic that people around the world, especially Silicon Valley, they embrace this idea and they praise young entrepreneurs. So like media, they write stories about them. Hollywood make films, movies about them. And then eventually it affects the decision making of venture capital firms. So they pour in money more to the firms that started out by young entrepreneurs. But it's not a fact statistically, because from a recent report from MIT and Northwestern University, actually the average, let me see the stats here. The average age of the fastest growing tech startup founder is about 45 years old, which means the startups, I'm not meaning that the founder that opened up a coffee shop in your neighborhood is a fast growing tech startups. It's 45 years old, so it's pretty old. It's not young at all. And actually these all entrepreneurs are twice as likely to build a successful startup as young entrepreneurs. Following up with some interesting fact, a 50-year-old founder is 1.8 times more likely to achieve upper tail growth than a 30-year-old founder. And relative to founders who, with no relevant experience, those with at least 3 years of prior work experience in the same industry as their startup were 85% more likely to launch a highly successful startup. So with that in mind, here's are my 2 cents about today's topics. I'm pretty focused on the innovation and education stuffs. So I have 4 points. The first one is to provide a lifelong education and training program for entrepreneurs over 40 years old. We all know that entrepreneurs over 40 years old, like they're old and they work several years, they have really good human capital, they have social capital, and they might pretty wealthy and financially independent. But they are not digital native as young entrepreneurs. So they are pretty lag behind from the innovation adoption cycle. So having a lot of courses that help them to learn new technology and adopt new technology, or learning new things like programming language, something can be helpful for innovation for the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem. The second thing is that to strengthen the current mentoring activity. We have mentor right now, like offering by incubators, accelerators right now, but they're pretty one way. So all entrepreneurs teaching young entrepreneurs their experiences. But I would like to suggest that maybe this could be like 2 ways, both ways, like reverse mentoring. So all entrepreneurs, we can change this structure. So all entrepreneurs can learn from young entrepreneurs. They can learn from them like new technology. They can adopt new products to their own company, so which will eventually improve their company's communication or working efficiency. So the next one should be with the government. I think government should provide more tech incentive for entrepreneurs over 40 years old, because when we grow old, we have more obligation, like family, kids, something like that. But which we might have some wonderful idea which can turn into a wonderful product, but these obligations might discourage us to starting up our own business. So if we have some tax incentive to encourage these old entrepreneurs to start their own business, this would be very helpful for the ecosystem. The last thing is I think we should create a friendly trial and error environment for the entrepreneurs, which can be done by removing the current regulation that protecting the vesting interest groups. For example, like fintech technology is not very popular in Hong Kong because Hong Kong's regulation is protecting the bank industry. So this kind of regulation, if can be removed, that will significantly boost the creativity of the local entrepreneurs. And also, government should incorporate with some equity to provide more equity-free funding, so the entrepreneurs can invest those money into R&D and innovation. So I believe strong startup ecosystem generally develop when both private and public support networks are in place, so founders too can turn their ideas into business. This is my part. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Eddie, could we request you?
Hi, good morning. It's still morning. Thanks for having me here. My name is Eddie Chau. That's from Singapore, originally from Hong Kong, and I've been in Singapore for 25 years. So I started my first startup in year 2000. I've been in the corporate for a while, and then so in year 2000, sort of I made a decision at the age of 39. So you can guess how old I am now. So I started my first startup, and then so no U-turn, and so I started altogether about 6 of them, and I exit 2. And I also do angel investing, seed investment with some friends and all that. So that is my little bit of my background. I have actually 4 things I would like to bring forward. In fact, it's a question rather than I'm going to give an answer. So it's really open to the floor and to discuss, debate, and all that. First, actually, is about how to grow the talent's appetite for taking risks. In fact, a lot of people saying that if you have an MBA, the chances are you probably won't start your own business because they know and they learn a lot about how to calculate risk. The more you learn, the more you know about the risk, the more you won't take the risk. So and that's sort of like I don't know about the audience here whether you agree to that. Now, of course, you know, there's a lot of innovation we expected in the future, and we see that is like, I won't say like a tsunami, but it is really quite a fair bit in the last 10 years. Partly is because of the invention of mobile. The connectivity is a lot better. So a lot of Internet of Things actually is happening. You will have, sooner or later, you will have autonomous vehicle, you have robots, and all these kind of things actually will come in place and will affect our life. So that we not have a lot of talents actually continue this kind of innovation. So the challenge actually, how are we going to bring those talents actually on board to become an entrepreneur? So that's my first question. Second, it is about the, assuming that you have started a startup, assuming that also may not be intact, right? How are you going to get quality funding to see through from the seed round all the way to the late stage? There's a lot of seed money, early stage investment money, Series A, but you know, the key is there's not a lot in the late stage. What I'm saying is those would be able to put in a 8-digit, a 9-digit type, or even 10-digit type of investment for a startup. So of course you have seen deals like, I mean, Grab or Uber got $1 billion investment. There's 1 out of, I don't know, million chance you will get this kind of things. It's quite a lot of a startup I have seen. It is they probably see that, you know, the company was stuck in the Series B stage. They cannot grow further without proper or quality funding. So the third point actually is about, I think, you know, the other speakers mentioned about that, is about market accessibility within Asia. I will look at it, it's like within the hinterland, it is 6 to 8 hours flight time. Within Asia, in the past, actually, a lot of startup, especially the tech startup, you know, the holy grail actually is to go and get something in America, or you know, the second best is in Europe. Asia market, it is too small for them for tech startup, but not in the last 5 years. The last 5 years, you know, the Epic Center actually is now back into Asia. So then, you know, the situation it is in Asia. It is not homogeneous. The market is so heterogeneous. There's a lot of pockets. And just now you mentioned about there's a lot of regulation, you know, and you mentioned about, you know, whether is it easier to get, you know, to set up a business actually in, for example, in Vietnam, or set up a business in Thailand. Even though within ASEAN, we're still talking and talking, you know. There's a lot of different kind of hurdles actually it is to make setting up a company in Asia. It's not as easy as a lot of people thought. So how are we going to make the Asian market more homogeneous for startup to call it as one market, right? The fourth point actually I want to raise is it entrepreneurship mainly for tech? I think tech or high tech, deep tech, you name it, right, have been capturing a lot of limelight lately because they got a lot of funding. But I don't believe that, you know, startup is just meant for technology. There's a lot of startup actually, it is even for food and beverage, they are doing quite well. But of course, they may not be able to get $1 billion valuation. But I don't believe that, the startup scenes or entrepreneurship is only sort of like for tech and for a few entrepreneurs. It has to be collectively built up, the ecosystems. So, and is entrepreneurship is only for those below 35? I started my first startup at 39 years old. I exit, I make some money. So, but currently, in fact, just now I went to another session. It's called Youth Quick. Okay, Youth Quick. I don't know whether you heard of the terms, right? Earthquake, but it is Youth Quick. So it is there's the words of the year in Oxford Dictionary last year. Youth Quick. They mentioned many, many times people saying that the tsunami is coming, the earthquake is coming. There's a lot of youth actually is leading the innovation journey, leading the innovation in a lot of ways and all that. So they, in some way, actually, they're going to even impact our lifestyle. I'm already over 50. So if our lifestyle actually it is probably will be changed by then, not the other way around. So it is a big topic. And also, is entrepreneurship actually for male in general? Okay. My first 5 startup, there's no ladies as a co-founder. I have to admit. My latest startup in 2018, I got 5 co-founders. Okay, 3 are ladies. So I'm very glad to say that 3 are ladies. And in fact, my co-founder CEO is a lady, and she used to be the managing director for IBM, a very senior lady. And the CTO is also a lady, my co-founder. And the principal data scientist also is a lady. It's all highly, highly qualified. So I would say that, probably it is a reflection point. It's about, more and more ladies. And I want to see more ladies, but I don't know. I mean, the statistic here is not so promising. So is it time, actually, we should have more ladies actually to come on board to lead the game? So I think I will stop here and then want to listen to other people's, what do they say?
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for making the point of the market access, because most of the time startups have good ideas, but they don't find a place to experiment, to test, and to validate the idea. And also the issue of scalability and the acceptance. Jos, maybe request you to.
Joseph from Taiwan, founder and CEO at Windows Technology. I started my startup journey in 2014 from Israel. I was a researcher at Tel Aviv University in Israel, and at the time I did some great job. And then the technology commercialized, and then I got my first investment. And due to some reasons, I moved back to Taiwan, and I started this company. And we do medtech. We mainly do medical technology, and in order to help people. From my observation, especially comparing Asia and Israel, I realize, entrepreneurship is really an issue related to culture. In Jewish culture, they have their some features. One of the features is that they are not afraid of mistakes. You look for their history, and you realize that it's all about how to survive. And from their point of view, to survive is the first thing in order to, to run the, to keep themselves, survive and so on and so forth. So as a result, they are not afraid to say something which is different from others. They are not afraid of hierarchical structure. So when I was a researcher in Israel, like all of our meetings at the time, we all fought, but the fighting was not just for, arguing. It's mostly for finding out the best solution. But coming back to Asia, our culture, especially for example, in Taiwan, many young generations, they are afraid of making mistakes because of many pressures from, their friends and so on and so forth. I do think the same situation in Korea and in Japan. I do think that is something that really hurdle, entrepreneurship. And so I do think how are we going to allow, young generations to speak out instead of we speak, they listen. It's something that we need to learn as a senior. And I myself is 42. I'm still young compared to the age of 45 as a founder of a medtech startup. But I still think that especially in Asia, nowadays I do see a lot of young talents who are younger than me. And I do think they could be very promising. But the main point is that do we really give them an environment like Jewish people, they give their people, a full freedom to speak out? Like my daughters, they born in Israel, they are more like Israelis than Taiwanese. They are very rude and straightforward, but I like very much. The point is that quite often I listen to them, I learn, some good points that they share with me. One of the lessons they learned from the kindergarten in Israel was like fighting. In Israel, everyone fights in order to, survive. That's the way they have now. But the point is that when they fight, they do learn something. For example, they know their strengths in the society. They know, who are the boss in the circumstance. And they also learn how to communicate with each other. And this is something that do in my mind. In Asia, we do need to have a culture, allow young generation to speak out, whether we as senior to speak, they listen. Thank you very much.
Okay. So the freedom to express. Yes, thank you. Mr. Hironori, could be proceed.
Hi. So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me as a partner. It's very great pleasure for me. I'm from Librite Partners. Let me describe two characteristics for Librite Partners. First one is we are the first and only Japanese independent venture capital exclusively investing in Asia. We invested in India and also Southeast Asia. And we are actually 8 years ago, 2010 or 2011, we started investing in Indonesia. Then now we are covering Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, and also our primary target at the current moment is India. So why only Japanese investment fund, venture capital, investing in Asia? Some of the independent venture capitals and some of the large Japanese corporate venture capital fund, they are investing looking also for Silicon Valley, looking also for Israel. So we are exclusively looking for and investing in Asia. And the second thing is we call ourselves a gateway fund. And what do you mean? So gateway fund means bridging Asian startups with Japanese large corporates. Since we are backed by Japanese large corporate as a limited partner with LPs, so they are requesting us to accelerate the collaboration between Japanese corporations and Asian local startups. For example, one of the largest life insurance company, Mitsui Sumitomo Marine Capital, is our LP. And also, one of the largest system integrators in Japan, Nihon Unisys, is our LP. Then we invested in 12 or 13 Indian startups now, and one of them is DocSep, online doctor, one of the largest Indian online hospitals. And actually, Mitsui Sumitomo Life Insurance invested in DocSep just last month, actually. Then another our portfolio company, Let's Transport. It's Uber business type of last mile logistics. And actually, I'm very pleased to inform you that one of the, still confidential, but one of the largest automobile companies, manufacturers in Japan, decided to invest in Let's Transport. And also one of the largest trading company in Japan also follows investment, decided to follow investment. So such kind of large-scale collaboration between Japanese large corporate and the Indian startups, it's being realized very much. So we are trying to accelerate such kind of business collaboration. So lots of corporates asking me, why you are focusing on Asian startups? That's a very good question. Of course, there are several reasons, right? I think each person has its own opinions. I think let me ask you later. But I think, of course, you know, Japanese market is now shrinking. Now we are suffering from the long depression, actually. So, but for example, India, I think it's expected to grow for next 20 years with 8.5% GDP growth. And also Southeast Asia and China and other Asian countries still keep growing. But not only for the market size and growth rate, we are focusing on technology and innovation. Have you ever heard about the concept leapfrog? Leapfrog, it's a very wonderful concept, right? So in Japan, for example, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we utilized a Pokeball, very casual digital way of the communication. I think you don't know very much about it, but it was a trend in Japan. Then PHS and mobile phone introduced in the market. Then now we are using a smartphone. Then we are using a laptop, right? iPad, right? Tablet. But now India and Southeast Asia, every young people jump into the smartphone. So smartphone first country. There we can see lots of smartphone first countries, meaning that I the first time connected with the internet, not by laptop, desktop, computer, but smartphone. So I think a new type of business is emerging very much. So for example, online doctor, let me talk about one remarkable case. AI chatbot diagnosis, online doctor. Our portfolio company, DocSep, is, again, as I mentioned, the largest online doctor in India. So lots of Japanese companies are getting interested in that sectors, but unfortunately, we cannot utilize AI chatbot services in Japan. You know the reasons, right? Because of the regulation. And unfortunately, we don't have active Uber, Airbnb. No, it's not strictly allowed, but it's almost regulated, actually. So strict regulations there in Japan. And also, as far as online doctor system concerned, doctor association, doctor union is strictly giving the objections to new social innovation because they're worried about losing their jobs, right? And also Japan is infrastructure in the healthcare sector is very implemented. We have a rich infrastructure there. So I think we are not very much, obliged to consider further innovation, further next level of the innovation. We can say that we are to some extent satisfied with current infrastructure systems. Unfortunately, that's preventing our next level of innovation. But in India, there is no regulation. I think Rajiv-san is very familiar with that systems, but because they are from India. So, but less regulations, we can say. And lacking of the infrastructure, incentivizing lots of startups to create something new in the industries. And also, of course, there is some doctor unions, doctor association, but less stronger. It's more calm, I think, compared with Japanese doctor association. So I can say that new types of social innovation is emerging now in India and other Asian countries. That's really inspiring to me. And some of the Japanese corporate also getting such interest. But how Japanese company can do, what Japanese company can do considering such circumstances, because they are not allowed to do anything in that sectors in Japan. So some of the companies decided to invest in Indian and other Asian startups doing such kind of businesses.
Wow.
Of course, it can be allowed, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So my interest, the topic I would like to address here at this panel is how much beneficial, how much can be, is it possible, how possible such kind of cross-border open innovation, like investing in from Japanese large corporate to Asian startups, to accelerate the new social ecosystems. What kind of tips, what kind of strategy we can consider, and what kind of role the government should take to accelerate further cross-border investment promotions and further cross-border open innovation. So, as I mentioned, right, Divide Partners is trying to realize more cross-border open innovation between Japan and Asian countries. So, I'm very excited to be engaged in such kind of situations, and hope to pursue the opinions and try to discuss what can be done and what we can collaborate together to realize further social innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I now request Mr. Emil for his.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Emil from Indonesia. Actually, I'm from we call it IDS Lab. So you can see the longest terms mean Indonesian Digital Entertainment, Art and Sciences. So basically, this is kind of we call it independent research center. So we are basically from the university. I myself, I'm teaching in one of the university in Indonesia. So the idea is we connect together. We thought about setting up a new center from the university. So we hope that from this center we can try to contribute to the society. So basically, we are 7 founders, and all of us from different universities. So we also come from different discipline, and we mainly focus on human and technology. So the idea of having this, we are trying because Indonesia is one of the developed country and one of the largest population in Southeast Asia, and also have a lot of problems that across the country. We have different thousands islands, and each of them has their own problem, and also the people itself, the culture, infrastructure, and also the political issue. So knowing this, we believe that we cannot offer a universal solution to everybody. So in our lab, in IDS lab, we try to do some, we start from the research. So as the research start, and then we try to give solution to the people, and from that solution we are going to commercialize, and hopefully it can be used nationwide. So one of the example that we are currently doing right now in our lab, we are collaborate with some community to deal with the problem of plastic waste. You know, Indonesia recently is on the news because there's one whale found dead, and it has almost 6 kilograms plastic on the stomach, and it found that in some place of one island of Indonesia. And the government also have huge homework for handling the waste. And then we found one community in one of the region in Indonesia. They are starting a movement called Waste Bank. So Waste Bank basically is kind of commercial bank, but instead of deposit money, people deposit waste. So people, we encourage people to bring the recycling waste. Yeah, so they deposit to the waste bank, and exchange to money. So they deposit gradually, and at the time they can withdraw the money, or they use the money to buy something. So we create a system using an IT system. So we also try open a marketplace so they can buy and purchase things from there. And we also try to connect with the government because most of the city also in Indonesia working with the smart city. So we hope by using this amount money inside their deposit, they can also use to get public facility, like paying for the public transport from the money they deposit from the waste. So we are creating the system where we continue collaboration with the community. So we hope that this idea is, even though it's only start from one small provinces in Indonesia, we hope this idea will be adopted across Indonesia because we had also some group of people start to organize the association of businessmen who are working on the waste management, because we have a recycling company, but they are not organized in good manner. So we are, some of our friends try to organize this, and hopefully we also connect with some like business sector, like the hospital, because in 2017 we found that the hospital waste being thrown in the public place. So we found a needle in the public space, and this has created a lot of problem, and the government also start to do some regulation on that one. And now we approach with different hospital and also different hotel, resort, try to help them manage their waste also. So we are not only working on the household or domestic one, but we also try to connect with some business sector. So this, and then our lab, we support this movement because we believe that this is something that we contribute to our society, and also we have the knowledge, because we are mainly as a professor at the university, we have this responsibility. So that's basically what we are doing right now in Indonesia. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I think doing some great work because it's not only about the tech startups, but if the startups could also look at the social issues and also the issues which impact the society in terms of managing waste, water, traffic, many such issues. Thank you. May I now request Mr. Seen for his...
Hello, I'm Sean. Actually, on the brochure from Korea, Popo Games, actually I have two companies. One is the Popo Games, which is located in Singapore. What I'm doing with this company is developing a game. Actually, I have a studio in Ho Chi Minh City, just out there. I have a team. They develop a great game with less graphic quality to competitive in Indian market, than working with the Indian publishers to release in Indian market. And the other one is, I have another company in Korea, which is called Amnori, which is doing VR and AR game development, mostly in sports. So what we do is that having license from global sports stars such as Manny Pacquiao, he's a legendary boxer of Philippines, and getting his IP making a VR sports games, something like that. Yeah, in terms of the entrepreneurship, what I'd like to tell is that it's about the risk management. Actually, it is everything that I'm learning from when I started the entrepreneurship journey back to 2011. At the time, I was offered a great job from a UK company called Phat. They offered the job as a country manager, and I started that job. So it was very successful. I had a great 2 years with them, and when I looked back, I saw in my bank account there are a lot of money to start a new business. So I thought that it was the right time to start my own business, just like a lot of people. So at that time, it was not good big money, but I was thinking it was a big money because at that time I was paid by a sterling pound, UK pound. I had 200,000 pounds in my bank account. So I thought it was a big money. So I started the business and I spent all the money in 6 months. And then I was thinking that I was fucked up. I was struggling to survive. At the time, luckily, I didn't marry. So I had a very tough 2 months. And anyways, I was luckily survived back. And then I was thinking that, wow, the money was not enough for us to survive. So I was thinking, how to manage the risk? So at that time, after that, I started the outsourcing business. So I became a person who was more realistic. When I started the business, just like David said, I was inspired by Steve Jobs. My dream was making my company to go out IPO. But right now, I do the business with partners to manage my risk. In the case of poker games, to manage my cost, I don't hire a Korean team because they are so expensive. Instead of them, I'm hiring this Vietnamese. In terms of the coding quality, they're the same with the Korean team, but they offers me better cost, so I hired them. And also, yeah, as a Korean, I can release my games in Korean market, but as all of you maybe know, Korean market, Japanese market, Taiwanese market, Chinese market, it is too matured. There are so many big companies that I cannot compete with. So instead of them, I go to India, the new market. It's like a Hiro-san's idea, just like Hiro-san's idea. And I released my first game in India, and it was back to 2015. I was thinking I could be successful at that time because I was thinking my idea was perfect, but I failed again. But at the time, I didn't have a right market idea. I didn't have any partners in India. I underestimated the cultural differences. And after that, I met the right partner in India, luckily. That is called Najara Technology. So with them, I'm releasing a great game. And yeah, this business is growing steadily. If it goes like a rocket, it can be better, but I don't expect that like the dream. It's just growing steadily. It's good enough. And with the Amnori, luckily, I realized another strategy is possible. So I got investment via a manufacturer called Vibe. And getting with their investment, I'm making VR games right now. When I started to develop VR games, I was thinking I can sell these games on Steam. I don't know whether you know Steam or not, but Steam is the global platform of selling games. So after selling the games on Steam, I was thinking that I could be a billionaire again very quickly, but it was again failed. But the Steam platform was strong enough, but there's not enough users to accept the VR games at that time. It was just last year. But also, I researched a lot. The new technology of telco is coming. It is 5G. So the 5G technology I decided to embrace. So right now I'm working with KT, the biggest telecom communication company in Korea. So the better thing is that they are paying me to develop my game, and they are buying my games and selling through their networks. And better thing is that they are thinking acquiring my company after 2 years. So what I'm thinking is that it is just happened by coincidence, but what I'm learning is that getting better monies and getting better, having better strategy how to exit will be very important to manage the risks. So throughout this experience, I graded my businesses, Herrick, others, what is important to less important. If I do the right, maybe I can go for IPO if I'm very lucky. But even if I cannot go IPO right now, I have another B plan, KT or other company. They are already thinking about acquiring my company. Or third way, if that does not work, anyways, I can be surviving. I know how to survive. Yeah, what I'm thinking right now is that embracing this entrepreneurship is very important for our young generation because Think about the other technologies, such as robotics, AIs, and other things. Big corporations that they are cutting their manpowers. The people who lost who lost their jobs, where they should go for earning monies. I think eventually they all should do their own businesses. And in terms of the big companies, they also should grow, even if they don't have enough manpowers. If they want growth, they should embrace a new service, which will be developed by entrepreneurs like us. That's what I'm going to say. Risk management, and we should sell our companies to big companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. I think some very interesting insights.
Yeah, thank you.
In terms of the appetite to take risk. What if you fail? When do you start? And I think at the end you say that grow and sell. So these are all interesting sides. I think we have thrown many thoughts, ideas. So the floor is open now. We can take some comments, questions. Yes, madam. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just to address the first part of what you people said, it's an all-male panel. So I thought I might as well just pitch in as soon as you people finish and listen. After listening to all of you, I think one of the things that's very important today when we're talking about entrepreneurship, when David earlier spoke of people above 40, etc. I was a lawyer first, and I went to re-educate myself at the age of 34, 35. And then started all over again, but the biggest bump was to raise funding, and especially being a woman, it was an extremely difficult job to find funds. Even if you were the best in the industry. So I initiated one industry in India from a very, and I was early in time. I had to get out of India again to start in a different place. And it is extremely crucial, like they said, the training for above 40s and for having women on board, and not just as entrepreneurs, but also as leaders. Because we need that kind of input, otherwise he wouldn't have been throwing away his 200,000 pounds. Because we had a woman on board, she will not let you spend that kind of money and throw it away for something like that, because usually women have that knack for looking at things from a very different perspective, from a very nurturing perspective, and not a very male, which is more aggressive perspective. So I think it's a very important point that has been raised in the beginning, that we have to find a way to include more women in the entrepreneurship and the leadership segment. And Emil, is this only in Indonesia atau di tempat lain lagi ya? This is Indonesian. I'm asking him if this is also in Indonesia, in somewhere else also. Your project.
Currently, we start in Indonesia.
Only in Indonesia.
Yeah,
okay.
I think, but we are open to expand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second point I want to make here is that there's so much tech happening just now. It's sad for the other projects, I think. Everybody, if I'm talking to venture capitalists and everybody, they want to include a level of tech, or they want tech. So people who are doing other things are finding it very difficult to now get their foot into this place, either by way of putting the ideas across, or even to raise funds for that, something which is different. So I'd love your thoughts on that. For people who are already doing it, and yours especially, I mean, because you're into that space, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good question and good opinions, I think. So yeah, I agree. Lots of venture capital is just looking for tech, innovation. I think one of the reasons is because, of course, we are also backed by our investors, right? Yes. So I think we have to make a profit. Then we have to give it the money with profits, right? Okay. So I think such kind of, our investors are looking for some extent of profits. Of course, venture capital investment and the return of the investment can be expected to be huge, right? Yes. If successful. So I think we have to change another concept, or we have to create another scheme, like already existing. So social investment fund scheme, so I think a different type of venture debt fund or venture capital fund should be more considered seriously. I agree with you at that point. So I think we have to set up that different part in the fund. Yeah.
Any other? Yes. Yeah.
I do have some a quick question for the board as well. So first, I would like to ask the board do you have any advice for young people, like they want to start up the new company or something like that. What is the best way to raise and manage the fund, and what is the best way to get to the success? And also, do every nation need a institute or a funding organization to support them when they got mistake and they don't have any more fund to start up again? So,
I think, Sean, you should answer. You have failed thrice, still fighting. You are the best.
So the question is where is the good source to get?
a bit
The real question is where big good source to get funded for young entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
How to
correct.
start? It's really hard to answer. As every situation is different. In my case, I just go to the bank when I ran out of money. I just went to the bank. Yeah, Actually, bank doesn't give you money. I realized that when I went to the bank, that I was very close to the bankers, and he said that in terms of your credit, you can get credit card service. I did, so credit card service money was not enough. I just my allowance at that time was just about $5,000. It was not enough money to survive, so I went back to my father. So the best money for young people, I think, is family money. I can tell you. So go to the father. I had a really good pitch to my father. And first time he rejected, and after that we made an agreement with my father, and he lended some money. But the good thing, when you get money from your father, you don't need to pay back. That is the first good money. So go to your father. And second thing is just like other insurance sellers, go to your friends. Maybe you will lose your friend, but you should try. That will be a better way. And then once you feel that your business is growing, then you can approach like venture capital, like Hiro-san or other people. But still, the better way is to find your own clients. That is better. That's what I've learned. So all about managing how to just risk less. So get good money. Go to your father.
Just chip in a little bit here. Yeah.
So what do you think about my second point about every nation should have an organization to support young people to start up, like the funding organization for every country, like such as in Asia?
Can you speak it again a little bit?
So do you think my opinion on like creating a organization for every country, that organization will support funding for every people who would like to start up the right way? Is that a good or bad idea? Would you give me some opinion about that?
I'll just respond to this. I think most of the countries have such organizations, and which are supported by the government, and there are also many private institutions. Like in India, Government of India runs a huge startup initiative. They also have a startup fund. There are some banks who support. There is a small scale bank which also has a startup fund. So, and lots of academic institutions have the startup cells, incubation centers. So I'm sure such institutes already exist. But definitely there is a need to maybe scale up, do more, work from the grassroots. Sure. You were adding.
Yeah, just now I just want to respond to you about how the young people want to start up. And also at the same time he mentioned the MIT report, 45 years old, very likely you'll be successful. Let me try to answer in one shot. My experience basically it is a startup actually consists of the young and the more experienced co-founders. When I have the first startup, actually I'm 39. My CTO actually is 26 years old, right? He was already a principal consultant of one of the largest software company in the world at the age of 26, flying around and all this. Very good talent, doesn't have a degree, it's just a polytechnic graduate. One of the sort of a cybersecurity guru, you know, at his age, at the age of 26. But he has been starting up using the computer, not for hacking, but cybersecurity at the age of 14. They start very young. My second startup, I did it in 2008. Another co-founder is also 26 years old. And my CTO is 35 years old, PhD in artificial intelligence. So the combination, why I believe that this kind of mixture of combination of young and a more experienced co-founder is very important. Let me give you an example. When Google actually got the first funding, right, serious funding back in 1999, year 2000, they don't believe the two guys actually would be able to scale the company. So that's why they got Eric Schmidt himself also as an investor. He became the CEO. Only after 10 years later, when the two co-founders become more mature, then they take back. So Eric Schmidt became the chairman. That is just one example. Now for the MIT report, actually it is, they didn't tell you that because they only take the oldest co-founder of the company, but they also have other younger co-founders they didn't mention. So always in the company, it is have a young and also the more senior one combined together. The reason actually it is the VC, when they look at and evaluate the deal, when I wear my VC hat as well, because I also do investment, is I want to look at it whether the team can scale or not. Can you execute? If you are selling an enterprise software, no matter how good is this software it is, but this bunch of people, they're so young, they haven't even seen a lot of big system implementation. So it's very difficult to convince the investor put in a lot of money. So that is why I will recommend, a combination of young and more experienced co-founder come together as a team.
Oh, thank you very much for that. So can I have just one little more question? So as I know that in Vietnam, we don't have any organization to support young people. What do you think about my idea that like in Asian, 10 country or 11 country can go together and like making like one funding for all of the people in Asian country? Is that a good idea, or can you give some opinion for us?
Point, right? Because I was involved in some of this government funding scheme. I involved in some of the investment committee and grant committee as well. Grant means, they give you money without any equity in return, whether it's for social enterprise and all that. They never saying that it is only for the young people. From the country point of view, I don't think they can say, I only support the young. Then the older one like me is like, why you discriminate me? I think it's a landmine. I think if you want to do that, it should be actually for all. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I think ASEAN definitely is looking at all these things, because last month I was at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta. So they do have a larger vision, what they call Impact 2025, and startup is one of the team, and the digital economy is also one of the themes. So I'm sure they'll be happy to have, but again it needs the consensus from all the 10 countries. Yeah, thank you. Any other yes.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Dr. J.S. Juneja. I think the subject is very relevant, accelerating entrepreneurship. I think in this context, I think we should mention about incubation, which is very important. And I think many countries have done a lot of work in incubation. India, particularly Ministry of Science and Technology, had set up what you call the STEPs, Science and Technology Entrepreneur Park. Basically, they are based on promoting enterprise in the high-tech areas, technology and sciences, basically. I've been associated with the advisory board chairman also on that center. But I think in addition to that, what is happening is the many institutions, particularly the management institutions, particularly the engineering colleges and university, because you need some institutional framework to support these steps, some technology entrepreneur or other incubation centers. There has to be professional support. I think that part we have to recognize that in order to accelerate entrepreneurship, this is one of the areas to do it. So that's why I thought I should intervene in this.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Any other comment or view? Any suggestion? Yes.
Hi, my name's Tim Kobe. I'm from California, but the last 10 years living in Singapore. One of the comments I guess I would have in the topic area here is the idea, I would say beware of best practices. I know most consultants don't say that very often, but the best way to make someone else a leader is to become a follower. And I think it's important to take risk. It's important to try things. Yesterday I heard in one of the sessions someone talking about looking at the 5 other models that existed to emulate, and the one that they left out was creating a new one. And I think it's important to don't look at the ground too much. Look out ahead, make sure you're trying some things that are very specific to what this region offers as opportunities. If you look at Alipay and WeChat Pay, the opportunity that came from that for that business was very distinct to that region and to that market, and it was a very inventive change compared to, say, what you would find in the US or Europe or other places. So I would say have the nerve to step up and take a leadership position in some of these new ideas. And you don't have to look always for precedent. Use the creativity, and I think you have also a very broad range of opportunities that fall out of that.
Absolutely, great input. Yes, thank you. Any other comment? Yes.
Hi, I have a question. Do you think the traditional way of doing VC, PE investments work in light of emerging technology and also how social changes are accelerating so fast? Does that model even work anymore? For example, a VC or PE guy comes in, okay, we want 2 board seats for X amount of money and pre-money, blah blah blah, and then that's it. If they sign a deal, the VC and PE, they walk away. Now the entrepreneur is left holding the bag. I mean, does that model work anymore?
That's a very good question too. Thank you very much, Brian. So, as per my understanding, it still can work to some extent because, but I think under some conditions, right? I think, for example, as far as the Indian concerned, I think 2013 to 2014, SoftBank, Japanese company, right? As you already mentioned, so they did lots of huge amounts of investments. Then that targeted sector was e-commerce and Alipay type, Paytm fintech, and also mobility transportation services like Uber, Indian Uber, Ola Cab. So I think most of the targeted sectors were time machine types of a business already existing in somewhere else over the world, like Silicon Valley in the US. So such kind of investment in emerging markets, time machine business investment in emerging market, I think that can work well because foreign VCs and some of the VCs locals whose fund managers have some experience in the US. For example, in India, lots of Indian portfolio managers have experience working in India, US. So I think that kind of investment can be suitable, with traditional types of VC and PE investment. But as you mentioned, new types of business, like a leapfrog type of business and also high-tech type of business, it's more evolving rapidly. So I think we have to consider more. If we continue doing some kind of investment with current schemes, current structure, but even then, I think we have to, consider further, decision-making schemes and further evaluate, more effective evaluation schemes, assessing schemes, because I think we have to consider unknown fields, right? More, with uncertainty. So I think we have to consider more, but I think my conclusion is, some extent, I think still current way of investment by venture capital and the PE fund can work well. So I don't know, other entrepreneurs think about it.
I have a fund actually together with some of our partners, about 16 partners. We're all entrepreneurs and we see our own personal money. We invest about 22 companies since 2012, all sit round, about $500,000 each deal. And I observed that actually it is, there are two challenges in the last 5 years. One, it is the crowdfunding. People actually go to the public in a way, by and large, actually in trying to get the money collectively. Because you're talking about $500,000 or $1 million, it is not difficult to reach. I'm talking about those seed money or even pre-Series A. So this is a big challenge actually, it is the VC actually facing. The other one, it is, just now Sean mentioned, you go to your father, and you look at that, now a lot of parents actually pretty well off also. They're willing to park a few $100,000 actually for the children actually to take risks and all that. So that's why the VC or the fund actually have to work extra hard. The entrepreneur will be extremely selective now, meaning that they don't want dumb money. They want value-added money. That means you want to. I'm talking about good deal. If it is not good deal, nobody will invest. If it is a good deal, the VC have to go and basically beg, can I invest? Can we invest in your deal? So it's the other way around. If it is not a good deal, you don't need to talk to the VC. The VC won't talk to you also. So it's by elimination. And so that's why, I would say that the VC have to work extra hard actually to get a good deal in. And to value add, for example, I want to go into a China market. Can you bring me inside? Can you bring me to the Indian market? It's not like, I give you $1 million or $2 million. Then, that's it, I will come for a board seat, and then you give me every month you give me a financial report and a few phone call and all that. No such thing anymore, especially for young startup.
Yeah, just to follow up on Hero. I'm with a Quang Capital regional PE firm based in Shanghai, partner and general counsel for them. One of the things that we are starting to do is you mentioned how does one cooperate between the big corporation and a small startup. And one of the ways that we are looking at is we're getting mature technologies from the big corporations. Dentsu is also our LP. And then we're taking mature technologies and partnering with startups and in strategic locations in ASEAN. So that way it goes back to Eddie's point about you have maturity, test proven technology from a big company, and then we not only are just board directors on the entrepreneurial level, we actually roll up our sleeves and we're in the front lines as well. Because why? It's to manage change. You can't sit on the board and then 3 months later look at what happened the past quarter. It's already history. It's gone.
Sure, please.
Yeah, thanks for I appreciate adding very good point, right? So I think basically, for example, the comparison between Japan and Asian market, especially India and Southeast Asia, we are aging society, and we are depressing, right? But you're the young population society, and also emerging. And also, as he correctly mentioned, Japan has competitive hardware technology and mature technologies, but India and for example, Vietnam too, lots of, coming up at a high-tech side, right? IT, AI, IoT technologies. And also we have, for example, Yeah, sorry. And also Japan still had abundant monies, retained earnings. Especially large corporate has lots of cash in the bank, at bank. Do you know the interest rate in Japan now? Almost zero. Yeah. No reasons, right, to cash for outside. So, but now Japan and India and Vietnam and Southeast Asian startups seeking funds very much. So I think considering such kind of conditions and circumstances, I think we have to consider more seriously about the bridging large corporate in Japan and maybe China and Korea too with emerging Asian startups. Yeah.
Sure. Any other comments, suggestions? Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked very much what my fellow female listener said about representing women here. I'm always in favor of that. But I really liked a point that I think David made about mentoring, and we're all talking now about investment, and as if only investment and money will fix this entrepreneur problem of taking risk. Only if you have enough money and then you're willing to take this risk and you will be successful. I do not think so. I think there should be something that I just wrote down myself as a knowledge investment, that actually young entrepreneurs need mentors and guidance of corporates, maybe Japanese, you name it, companies that would be willing to invest with their knowledge to raise up smaller company. It can be, yes, social impact, but it might be even for a financial value. It's just some kind of different investment, because I think I'm also a startup of a co-working space that focuses on women, and you need more than that. You need more than your own money, your own experience, your own younger, older co-founder. You need someone from outside who has seen another picture, the bigger picture, or something totally different to bring to the table. So I would like to have your view on how do you foster in your big, small organizations a spirit of innovation, knowledge sharing, mentoring?
I've seen, in fact, I've been invited in quite a few of, even for big organizations, for their own accelerator program. And I've seen independent accelerator program, that means the incubator. I can talk a little bit on the Singapore side. There's quite a number of incubators. They take probably, even banks also, they have their own incubator program. For example, DBS Bank, UOB Bank, some they don't take equity, some they take equity. In general, it's about 6 to 8% if they take equity. That means they nurture you for maybe about 6 months. They will match your idea with mentors. The mentors actually, for example, if you talk about fintech, because they're a bank, they definitely know who actually is in the game. They are bankers. And the more important thing actually is the bank, I'm just talking about fintech, right? The bank actually, they have data. So you want to play around, actually, of course they analyze it, but you have a good sandbox type of environment for you to test your idea. You're being assigned to a mentor or group of mentors and all that. So it is, I would say, is one of the pretty well proven method adopted at least in Singapore. I've seen other organizations, they themselves have the incubator program. The reason actually it is because instead of losing the talent inside, I mean, that means the colleagues. Some of the colleagues, they want to go outside to start their own company. So they encourage entrepreneurship now. So in fact, I just joke with, not joke lah, but I was invited to speak in a few companies. One company actually gave me a book because there's a theme for the management team retreat for about 80 people. So the book is named called Build to Last. It's by about 20 years ago, by the few guy from Shell. And then I said, I think you got the but But then actually, joke aside, actually I'll still be the speaker there. And why? Is because they want to encourage the colleagues within the organization, don't go outside. I'm going to assign you to become a strategic business unit. They still call SBU. I give you the funding. You are the CEO of that unit. And I give you the customers. In fact, who started it? SAP. Surprising, right? SAP started it a few years ago. So I met up with the executive VP in charge of the program, and they have a field center around the world is to encourage the SAP colleagues, don't leave. Leave it inside. So organization is doing that, getting more and more doing it, and also independent incubators are also doing it. Absolutely, mentorship, it is very important. So the incubators are doing the job.
Eddie, just a follow-up question on that. Can you share more about the remuneration or incentive scheme for this kind of entrepreneurship? Are they getting some sort of equity to sweeten the deal to keep them on board?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I may share, not a specific company, but I can share with you, some formula. First of all, they will give you the capital. It depends on the how big is your project, right? So if you say that, this is my projection and all that, and you want to raise funds as if you're independent, that means, you don't say that you work for my company, okay? That means if you want to go out and raise, what will be your business plan, okay? And you say you want to raise $2 million. I say, fine, I will give you $1 million, but office space is free of charge. All the colleagues, existing colleagues, I send it to you, okay? And 18 months is the deadline. 18 months meaning that, you will have the product up and running. You have to get the first sales because you don't need to do selling because all the customer is already here in a way. You act on, you want to act something, right? And after 18 months, then, they probably will do a follow-up funding. They will have timelines for you, and then, if it is successful, maybe about 4 years' time, they will buy it back. They will buy it back. That means, you can exit with a huge profit. Okay.
Very interesting. Any more suggestion, question, remark? Since we have time now, I think we can have just one-liner comment from each one of you to say what probably the government can do and what maybe the individuals have to do. So can we start with you, David?
Sorry, can you start with your question again?
Basically, what the government should do and what the individuals could do. Individuals could do. Startups, the individual startups.
I'm not very familiar with the scenario in India, but I will start with my experience in Taiwan. So our government is pretty slow for the startups, so they are like trying to making plans like this year only. So our new government trying to they have a new plan for setting up unicorn. They want to build a unicorn for the next. They want to create 2 unicorn companies in the next 6 years. So that's their plan. But what are they offering on the table? I don't think that's pretty enough to create unicorn companies. So I think the government should talk to more startups founders, not the one that's already being successful, but those one who is fighting to become successful.
Sure. Yeah, just a brief comment.
Okay. Reality is that governments, they have their own problems, a lot of problems. Don't expect too much is something I like to say. I mean, you fight for your own startup and make your startup competitive and attractive. This is the key.
Great. Thank you. Eddie?
We get the government, I think Singapore government is way way too proactive. They've been doing a lot of work and on that. But I totally agree with Joseph and his. Don't expect the government will do everything for you. At the end of the day, easy money come, it will make you sort of like complacent. So at the end of the day, you have to make sure that your company, your startup, highly competitive.
Sure.
Me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the government should, in simple word, I think they should understand the difference, I think. So very large corporate and government basically, they are very conservative and in the long history. So, but the startup systems and the emerging markets and the emerging technology are totally different what they're, what the government have experienced. So I think to understand that, admit and accept the difference is a very important point. Yeah.
Sean.
Okay, as a Korean startup, I'd like to talk to Korean government, even if no one is from there now. Anyways, actually, the Korean society is struggle with jobless. There are a lot of unemployed persons. So Korean government is supporting a lot of taxes. The taxes that I'm paying, they are hiring a lot of government officers. I think is use our monies for no reason. If I were government, I'd like to push big corporations like Samsung, Hyundai, or SKT to buy competitive startups with giving them the tax benefits. So that stimulating the ecosystem is actually this my selfish reason. I'd like to send my companies to them. And the other thing is that I had a very my company annually got an investment from HTC Vive as foreign company. That was last year. But as a foreign investor, it is really hard to make an investment to Korean companies. It was last year, but officially they were registered as an investor in this year. There are a lot of paperwork, more than 100 papers I should supply. So it is a really useless time I spent. So yeah, maybe I don't know about the other government, but to Korean government, you should work well. Thank you.
Emil? Yeah.
Okay. I think from Indonesia, I think regarding the government, I think they are gradually doing well because I think recently Indonesia this year we have 4 unicorns. Globally, I think it's quite good progress so far. But however, I think we need to diversify the focus of each startup. So we're not only focusing on the business side or like the tech side. So and also we hope that government try to use this kind of startup movement to give some let's say some solution to the society because we need this especially in our country, in our region, and in terms of the size of the nation, the population, and the geographic things. And then I think this is something that should be done by the government, more diversity and also more support in terms of not centralized, because mostly now we centralize in one island, Java Island. I think Java is also one of the most populated island in the world. Just found out, and then I think this is something that should be done. Right.
Sure. Thank you. So I think we had a great session, plenty of insights, and I'm sure you all have good takeaways. So may I request all of you to please have a round of applause for the wonderful panel. And with this we close. Thank you.